Hello, it's Laura, and I have a what sold on whatnot video for you. And I sold things. It's a it's a little twist considering recent weeks. Okay, so if you've followed my videos, my last two whatnot shows were atrocious. I had let me see, wait. I had one show where I made $25 and one show where I made 70. That was before fees on both cases. So it was super discouraging. When it happened once, I was like, wow, something weird went on. My show bombed. When it happened a second time, I'm like, okay, is it me? Is it me? What's happening? So I was hanging a lot on the results of today's show. Thankfully, I had like a decent show. Wasn't like over the moon phenomenal, but it was decent. I had $237 in sales. I am estimating that that's going to be about $200 in revenue. I'll have the actual revenue in the comments in the description because I'll know by the time I post this what that is. Um, Today I sold 17 items going to 9 different customers. 5 of them are new to me, 4 are repeat buyers. So okay, my whatnot is not dead. I'm not a whatnot pariah. Um, I don't know what the magic solution was. I did try to get some items listed there in advance. I didn't do great with that. I had about 10 items with photos put up like a week in advance. Not a week, quite like 5 days. And then I had some additional things like descriptions in there without photos, and I got those photos up a couple days in advance. Like I didn't have it as prepped as I would have liked. I'm going to try and do next week's show a little more fully. I have a good amount of inventory that's like ready to go, so that will be encouraging. Um, so I don't know if that was part of it. I did a little bit of Instagram promotion in my stories, but really just starting like I want to say yesterday. Like I wasn't great at it, but I did something. So I don't know if that's what the magic solution is or if it's just like the wind changed and I got the people, but I don't know. So I am going to try to keep doing things a little bit more in advance. Um, I feel like my karma changed a little bit. I did have a really great sourcing day yesterday too, if you saw that video yet. So, it's getting there. Um, I did start tracking. Whatnot gives you all sorts of analytics for your shows, but they don't keep your show level analytics for a very long time. It's like a month. So I started sticking it all into a spreadsheet so that I can kind of see some trends. And one of the things that I find super interesting is that you really do not need to have tons of people in a show to be able to make some money. So, um, like in today's show, I had $237 in sales, but I don't feel like I had a lot of people in my room at any given time. I think that uh, I felt like I had like, I don't know that I saw it go over, I don't know. I was going to say, I don't know that I saw it go over 10 people. I'm not sure I saw it even hit 10. I think I saw like 9 people at once at the most. I don't always pay enough attention to the number of people in the room. But in my analytics, I've been looking at, and it does give you kind of that data. How many people came to your show total, or how many views? Not show, because like I could go into a show and then leave it and come back in again, and those will be 2 different views, right? But how many people were in your show, how many views your show got, etc. And um, so I've tracked 5 shows so far, and the max concurrent viewers, which means the maximum number of people that were in my show at the same time together, was 19. So it doesn't tell me, I don't think, how many people. Yeah, so I don't know how many people visited the show in total. It doesn't have that number in here, but let's see. Max concurrent was 19 and total views is 177. I don't think that's 177 people. I think that's just 177 times people came into your show, right? So again, you can come into a show multiple times, but a lot of these numbers are not that impressive if you think about it. So let me see. My highest revenue show, I made $284, and that show had 229 total views. Not that many. By comparison, the week prior to that, my revenue was $206, so about $80 less, and my total number of views on that was 177, so like about 60 views less. So these are not massive numbers of views or massive numbers of people, and yet I can still make decent money. And then sometimes you don't. The last week I had $59 in revenue and it was 145 views. So if you think about that, 145 views gave me 50 bucks, but another week 177 views gave me like $200. So, it's more about like you could have one person join and buy 10 things from you. You don't need tons of people. I try not to psych myself out with that too much. Anyway, those are some of the numbers that I've been keeping track of. I might do a more in-depth video talking about some of those things as I gather more information to look at some of my trends. But for today, let's get into this. I've got 9 packages to ship, 17 items total. So I'm going to show you what we got done here. All right, the first item, and once again, all of my like preconceived insecurities and like my inventory is too stale. People don't like these things. It's bullshit, right? So I don't know why I had no sales and now I got sales, but it's not because I have stale old inventory or people don't like what I'm selling. So number 1, where did it go? All right, so I've got this little Anne Klein blouse. She's been in several shows. Is okay, right? Cute little secretary style blouse. This sold for $15. And I did even have at least one item today. I feel like it was only one, but it was at least one that got some bids. So yay for that. I'm still going to try and make some improvements. I'm going to start having some more specialty shows. I scheduled a menswear show. That is going to be May 29th. So again, by the time I post these videos, I'm catching up with my video posting. I was about 2 months behind at one point, and now I'm like a month behind. So we're slowly catching up, but I don't know that you'll see this before that happens. Anyway, but menswear May 29th, just because I have a lot of it. My menswear show that I did in the past did not go well, but again, I'm going to try and like do a little bit of advanced promotion, load it up in advance. We'll see what happens. Worst case scenario, I don't sell stuff. So, and I'm trying it as an evening show because why not? I think that's the key, not the key. Like there's not the anything, right? But I'm going to try and do that, do my regular, stay very consistent with my 10 a.m. Thursday morning shows, but then do some more themed shows at different times of day or evening or different days and all that stuff, just to kind of play around with it a little bit and see if I can, we'll see. Let's see what I can do. All right, let's see. My second item is going to a new to me buyer. That first item, the Anne Klein blouse, was to a repeat buyer. So this next item is going to a new to me buyer, and she got this really adorable little 70s dress for $15. So cute. I was watching another streamer the other day, and she, so most of my items I start like $15, and I am frequently selling them for the starting price, right? And I've definitely watched other people who start things higher as a general rule. And some of them, they start things at like 20 and 25. Some of them, they're starting them at like 40 and they're selling, more coveted kind of pieces a little bit higher. There's a lot of different ways to do it. But really, to me, what it comes down to is who's in your room at the time, right? Because I have access to inventory where I can have these kind of prices, and I feel like people return to me because of that. I've tried to keep that going. And my hope is that I will start gaining enough people that it will start bidding up rather than me starting things higher, right? But I was watching another seller, and she did have a lot of like really, I don't want to say all kick-ass items, but she had a lot of really nice items, like definitely stuff that I would put in a whatnot show, also not necessarily stuff that I would hold off for Etsy. but yeah, she had good stuff, and her start prices were very like $10 kind of range, and it was great, but also she was getting stuff bid up, and she had like 60 to 70 people in her room at any given time. So I think that's a really nice place to be. But I think that in order to get to that level of having that many people in your room and getting things bid up, I think it comes down to being on a lot more consistently and frequently. I'm consistent, I'm just not frequent. Um, so I think what I'm going to try and do is pick a couple of sellers like that. And I don't remember what her name is. Right now, not important, but going to try and pick a few sellers that are doing that and really pay attention to how frequently are they going on, um, what their start prices are, whatever. Pay a little more attention to those sellers. And I'm not going to necessarily watch all their shows because I can't live my life watching whatnot shows, but I am going to try and like look and see, like, do they have shows scheduled in advance? How many times a week are they going live? Things like that. It's hard if people aren't scheduling in advance because whatnot sends so many notifications of shows starting that you just kind of block it. You know what I mean? Like I get notifications for people that I haven't bookmarked their shows or anything. I'm not even sure I'm following all the people I get notifications for. So I can't rely on the notifications, but I'm going to try and check in with these sellers on a regular basis and see what they've got scheduled and how often they're scheduling shows, and give myself a better idea of whether this is something that is it going to be worth it if I start scheduling shows more frequently, and how frequently do I need to do it? Anyway, let's see. Next, I have another new to me buyer. She purchased 2 items. So the first is this adorable jumpsuit that I thought was really cute, and I've had it in a few shows and it hasn't sold, and I keep being surprised, but it sold today. So yay, that's fun. And and another way of thinking is like I'm focusing a lot on trying to increase my whatnot activity, and maybe that's not the answer. Maybe the answer is to just increase my other listing activity. I am definitely less consistent with my other listing activity, but I have been listing consistently. But like some days it's like one or two, some days it's six, you know. So the other thing I notice with my Etsy, eBay, all of that kind of stuff is I feel like I'm adding things at this rate, but I'm selling here. So like I'm just accumulating more and more stuff. It's difficult. And I definitely want to obviously sell more through those platforms because they're more successful. When I make a sale, I'm profiting more. Um, and in fact, today I just sold a really cute little dress on Depop that I had in my whatnot shows. I had it in so many whatnot shows. $15, cute little purple 60s shift dress. And I finally got it listed online. I think I had it listed for $59. Somebody sent me an offer for 47 shipped, so I took it. So 47 versus 15, way better. But I get like my Depop sales are, oh, I just wrapped that up. That was so ridiculous. Okay. I just whatever, I'll fix it. Because she ordered 2 items and I wrapped one and I'm not paying enough attention. What was her second item? So that little jumpsuit was $10. I must have gotten it really inexpensively. And then the second item that she ordered, here we go, was this very pretty. This is like a silk kimono style, whatever dustery thing. Um, that's the tag for that. It's really cool. I saw a clip on YouTube of like the Golden Girls, and Blanche was wearing something very similar to this, and I really wanted to like screen capture it, but it was like a YouTube short, and I can figure it all out. And it was like not a great view of the jacket, but I wanted to like find the episode, but then I was like, that's a lot, Laura, just a lot. So anyway, this sold for 15. Oh, sorry. Been trying to be super conscientious about my little microphone there, but things happen. I apologize. Okay, let's see. Get this all folded up pretty, 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 pretty. Very Does not want to fold itself up neatly, that's for sure. Okay, there's that. I've got to stick that in with the other thing though, so hold that there. Okay, next I have a buyer who purchased 2 items. One has been in a jillion shows and the other one has just been in a couple. They were, let me see. So this one, not that one. This one she purchased for $10. Cute little 80s thing. This has been so many shows, but it's really cute. Got that. This time I'm going to fold them both up, and I'm not going to forget to put them both in the same package. The other thing I didn't mention yet, and we'll get to the buyer, I'm sure, but you know, I cap shipping spend at $8.35 for buyers. So a buyer will not pay more than $8.35 when they purchase from me, which typically means they can get up to 5 pounds worth of clothing for that amount. If it goes over $8.35, over 5 pounds, then I cover the additional shipping. I usually don't have to spend money on shipping. Today, my shipping spend was $1.05. So, you know, I suspect it's the one buyer that had 6 items in her purchase. So I'll go over that with you. The second item that this customer purchased was this t-shirt. So this has been in, I think it was in the 2 like super crappy shows. So, you know, been in a couple shows, but nobody was at those shows to see it. So anyway, and that sold for $15. Yeah. Really cute little, like a sleep shirt style shirt. And let's see, okay, get this folded up. Nice. We'll do that and then that. There we go. Talking to myself. Not really talking to myself. I mean, I'm talking to you, but also in the context of talking to you, I am also talking to myself at the same time. Okay. Next is my 6-item customer. This is a repeat buyer. Appreciate her so much. So yeah, I think she was the one where, so even though it says that my shipping went over 5 pounds, I don't think that it did, but I also think that Whatnot still charges me that extra whatever. If I messaged them and said, hey, I don't think I actually went over 5 pounds, they would probably credit it. I'm not going to bother for the dollar or whatever. But it's a good thing to know. I've never tried that. I've heard people say that, like, if people overspend on shipping and you message Whatnot, they'll fix it. So we'll see. There are other times that I go over on shipping, like I underestimate, and so Whatnot covers the overage. So I kind of feel like it washes out, you know. But anyway, so this person purchased 6 items from me. This is the first item, is this little like house dress. I don't know if this is vintage or not. It has 0 tags in it. It's very crispy. It could have been made yesterday. It could have been made in the 70s. I have no idea. So let's see how much it cost. How much it sold. Sold for 5, which is not surprising to me. I think I got it really cheap. Also, again, the only time I'm selling anything for a price as low as $5 is if there's something wrong with it, or I got it super cheap. So there's that. So I think I just got that super cheap because it's super crispy. This next item she purchased, I sold for $10. This does have stuff wrong with it, but it's super cute. I got this at one of the big estate sales recently. I keep saying recently. At this point, it's probably at least a month ago. But you know, so I got this thing, right? It has some discolorations on the front. It's a shirt dress, but 2 of the buttons on the bottom, the fabric is torn. So that's why the price was lower. It's a really awesome piece. I think it's so cool looking, but it does have those issues. I still think it's very wearable. You know, even with those condition issues, it's not a huge deal. I'm going to button this up so that it looks nice. Let's see. So then after I do my shipping today, I'm going to change into something comfy. It's very gray outside today, but you know, that's okay. I have to figure out what my next steps are. I noticed with my workflow, there are times that it's very easy for me to be in a flow of work, and then there's other times that it's very difficult because there's too much decision making. Like when I've done a photo day, it's a lot easier for me to list because I know what I'm listing. I'm listing the stuff I took photos of, and it's very easy to go through everything. But if I don't have things pulled for drafting or things pulled for photos, etc., then I get into a space where I have to like decide what I'm going to do for the day. And for some reason, my brain is like, nah, too much, and it checks out. So I could go ahead and start loading up some of the whatnot stuff for next week, which I might do. I might do a little drafting there. I definitely need to start writing more drafts for my other listing. I do still have some photos from my last photo shoot day, so I can do that. Let's see. Sorry, I'm taking a long time to fold this thing up, so I'm just prattling at you while I'm making this look pretty. Yeah, actually, I'm trying to think. I know I wrote some drafts. Yeah, I have a couple of things that I can just edit photos for. Here's the when I edit photos, I always want to like watch something while I'm editing because the editing is very mindless, you know. So I want to put like YouTube or Netflix on or something. But when I do that, then I'm kind of like it's like a drug to me. Like once I start watching stuff, I have a very hard time stopping. So I try to like do my like writing work earlier in the day before I've gotten all junkied out on like social media or you know any kind of media. But if I want to edit, see, this is what happens. I go through these eight. Okay. All right. The next item that this person purchased, this is the thing that got a couple of bids, which was cool. This 70s dagger color blouse. Was it this one? Yeah. So this thing, it ended up selling for $17. I listed it for 15. So again, not like a ton of action, but it's some action. And when you've got like 9 people in a room and nobody's requesting things, not nobody, I don't want to say nobody's requesting, but you know, you feel like people aren't paying a lot of attention and then more than one person bids on a thing. It's like, okay. And I think that like I had already run this item once and then this person came into the room, she requested to see the item. And so I just assumed that she would be the only one who bid on it, and she was not. So, you know, again, people don't always request to see things. They will bid on things that they didn't ask to see. You know, any of my preconceived notions are generally incorrect. So, all right, let's see. Next is another dagger collar blouse. I love. And this sold for 15. This is the one like I don't know. I think this is way cooler than the other one, but that's all personal preference. So like I was surprised that the other one got a couple bids on it, but still happy about all of it. This point I can't remember where I got this from. This might have been from the Facebook Marketplace pickup or an estate sale. I don't remember which one. Because they're all starting to like run into one another at this point, but it's really cool and I love it. I don't have enough table space now because I'm messing my stuff up over here. At least I don't have Rizzo running around with me yet today because I knew I'd want to film this without getting bitten by anybody. All right, let's see. Next item that she purchased was yet another dagger color shirt. Is this little fun friend also came either from that estate sale or the Facebook Marketplace. I don't remember. This sold for 15 also. It's very cool. All right, let's see. I didn't set this up well today. I don't know why it's such a mystery to me. Every time I set the camera up to do this, I'm like, how did I do this last time? So I feel like normally I kind of put you back further so that I can be in frame more. And then today when I was doing that, for some reason, it wasn't like setting up. I don't know, the framing looked weird. So, but now I'm off camera half the time while I'm folding. So I don't know. All right, and then the final item that this customer purchased, and this is what would have sent it over the edge, I think, is this. This is a suede skirt. It's so cool. It's very heavy. It sold for $15. I don't remember how much it cost, but I'm sure you guys, it's in my last video because I only got it yesterday. But sold it for 15. It's so cool. It's just a very cool little suede 70s skirt. So, and I love that it went with all of these dagger collar tops because I feel like it matches the vibe of them very well. Like they all go really nicely together. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In fact, let me restack this. Some of my favorite pieces on top. All right, got that. I got to put it in a bag. Let's see, that's the giant bag. This is the normal giant bag. All right, let's see. So here's something else I can ramble at you about for a few minutes. I normally get my Polly Miller stuff. I think I've been getting them from Amazon. And, oh, don't fall, please. And I recently saw, I get a newsletter called E-commerce Bites. If you are a reseller, you should probably subscribe to it because it's interesting. You know, it gives updates on like what different platforms are doing and things like that. So I was reading in the E-commerce Bites newsletter about Amazon and what they call dynamic pricing. And this is a thing that's come up in a couple of different ways. I know there was something that the fast food chain Wendy's was doing with dynamic pricing. It basically means that the price of an item may change depending on whatever factors, you know, and whether it's like the time of day or the time of year for demand and whatever. So, you know, if they notice like, oh, this burger sells, you know, a lot at lunchtime and not so much at dinner, maybe they make the price higher during lunch. I don't know what their factors are, but you know, you can't rely on it like, oh, it costs $3. Well, I don't know what a burger costs, but you know, you can't rely on the pricing being the same all the time, right? And people were all pissed off at Wendy's, and you know, I don't know if they rolled any of that back or not. Doesn't matter. Amazon now has come out with this thing saying they're going to be doing dynamic pricing, and I feel like they've probably been doing this for a while. And I think the reason it came out in this newsletter was that they are offering smaller sellers to be able to do this. So, you know, there's sometimes where you're buying things from Amazon, like meaning Amazon is the seller. But then there's other times where like independent sellers can sell using Amazon as a platform. So I could get an Amazon account and sell things on Amazon. And so I think for those sellers, Amazon has said, hey, do you want us to use this dynamic pricing with you? If you give us control of your pricing, we will change it according to what we think will help you get seen better in search or get you better sales, etc. Now, as a seller, I'd be like, fuck no. I think this is a kind of thing that maybe works well for super high volume sellers. Like if you've got like pallets full of packing tape and that's what you're selling on Amazon, like maybe it works in that instance. I don't know. But it just pissed me off, right, to hear about it. And apparently there was like some whatever discussion in the government about this type of practice and saying like this is not a good practice to engage in, because what's to stop them from, let's say, you know, Amazon says, oh, there's a flu outbreak in New York City. Well, if you're trying to buy, you know, flu medication off of Amazon, we're going to jack the price up in that region because we know that it's more in demand there as opposed to over here in Ohio where everybody's healthy right now. You know, and so I could see it being problematic. So it really pissed me off with Amazon because let's face it, they're Amazon. And so who's happy with them to begin with, right? Before I continue my rant, let's go to the next item, which is a repeat buyer who purchased these pants. So these are probably handmade. And again, I can't remember if they were the estate sale or the Facebook Marketplace picked up, but they're really cool. So, and these sold for $15. So with the Amazon thing, like I do currently have Amazon Prime. And the only reason I've kept it as long as I have is because we watch things on Amazon Prime. So I figure it's basically the same as paying for a streaming service. But even with that now, I'm getting really like, I just want to cancel Amazon. And so I buy these things on Amazon. Do you see how this happens to me? I go to wrap something. I'm like, oh yeah, Amazon. I don't want to order these on Amazon anymore. And then I tell you 6 more stories that all really stemmed from the poly mailer. Anyway, um, so I have to find a new place to get them. I think I'm going to try and buy them through You Pack and Ship, which is where I get my like the actual mailers that I use for shipping the outside package mailers, you know. So we'll see. The next customer is a repeat buyer, and this is one of my little seller friends that I was very grateful she came in. She got this dress. So this came from the other Facebook Marketplace pickup of the photography woman who had like 8 dresses. So this is one of the dresses. This sold for, I think, 15. Yeah, I put this up for 15. So when I purchased from that woman, there were 8 dresses that averaged out to about $25 each. So obviously this selling for 15, like individually, it's a loss if you look at it in that sense. However, out of the 8 dresses I got, 3 of them are those cool prairie dresses. Those are going to go directly to, um, you know, Etsy, eBay, whatever. And those, I anticipate making between $300 and $400 total just on those. So these are just kind of like bonus dresses in my opinion. So it was nice to be able to like throw it in there at a lower price. So 15 bucks for this. Also, partly I think because selling black dresses is very hard. It's hard for me to photograph them well. And I would not have picked this up at a thrift store necessarily. I think it's cool, but you know, it's black and it's hard to photograph and whatever. But sold that for 15. And then the second item that she purchased from me was this Indian cotton set. This I did get from the estate sale. I remember that. And I did have to replace the elastic in this waistband. I sold this set for $20. So that waistband was a little more work than I would have liked it to be, honestly. But I'm really happy that it's going to this person. I really like this customer slash seller. And plus, I like that it's going to anyone. It's a really cool piece. But I'm especially appreciative because even though she has been a customer of mine in the past, it just felt really nice to have like, you know, a friendly face in my show today. And then when she purchased from me, I was extra grateful because I was like, oh my God, yay, I'm going to have sales. So, and she purchased sort of earlier in the show. It was before, you know, things picked up a little bit more eventually, but she purchased early enough where I was like, still feeling like this show is not going well. And so it gave my ego a little boost for sure. And I appreciate her. So anyway, these 2 items for her. And let's see. Probably use a slightly larger bag for that. Only 2 more left after this. So you're relieved. They're 1 item each. Thank God she's not going to start talking about Amazon and tape again. Maybe. Who knows? Who knows what I'll talk about? There we go. That. Okay, next, new to me buyer. And oops. They purchased this sweater, which I got yesterday. Really cute little 60s beaded cardigan. And less. And this I sold for 15 bucks. Again, I don't remember how much I purchased it for, but I know it was inexpensive. Probably under $5 if I listed it for 15. That's my guess. So really pretty. It's in such gorgeous condition too. Oops. Come on, sweater. Sliding all over the place. It does not want to fold up neatly, but we're going to do it. All right. And this one I'm going to send off in like a little bit more, maybe in a box. I normally send in a poly mailer, but because of all the beading, I get nervous with it like running through machinery and stuff. I don't think I need to bubble wrap it. As long as if I put it in a box, I think that'll be very good. It's also a little heavier, so I think that my shipping weight will account for the box also. So that's good. And then my final item was this skirt. I've had this skirt in a whole bunch of shows. You can see today she was number 90, but you know, and I've been surprised that it hasn't sold. I think it's like a really like universal in the vintage aesthetic world. It fits like a 70s vibe, 60s vibe, even like Woodstocky hippie kind of thing. It fits like a 90s hippie vibe, you know, Y2K with the like the low hip huggery kind of skirt, all of it. So I've been really surprised that it hasn't sold yet, but sold today and sold for $15 to a new to me buyer. So yay, happy about that. So that is everything that I sold. And I'm very relieved to know that I have not lost all of my whatnot juju. So, and then, you know, I'm going to try and figure out a little bit of a better system for whatnot. I still want to focus a lot more on increasing my Etsy, eBay, Depop sales, but those have been harder platforms. I feel like the stuff I normally do to increase sales on that has been hard. It basically for me means constant listing. Um, it's been helpful to like do the cross posting, and I think that when I have all of my cross posting done, like I still have a lot of stuff right now that's not cross posted yet. Um, when I have more of that done and I feel like everything's been cross posted, then I'll start using their delist and relist service. So meaning, you know, you've had this thing listed up here for 6 months, we're going to pull it down and then put it back on as though it's a brand new listing. I think that'll be helpful too, you know. But it's a lot. So what are you going to do? My whatnot's been pretty consistent, and these past 2 weeks were a little bit scary, but I want to keep it consistent. I think the past 2 weeks have scared me into wondering if it's just more sellers, if there's some other element that has changed, um, and like how can I at least retain my whatnot, you know, level. So because it's nice, it's not a ton of money every week, but it's a nice little constant for me. So anyway, that's everything. I hope that you enjoyed this video despite all of my rambling, and I thank you so much for watching. I'll see you again soon.